had somebody ask me why I have the index finger just kind of like hanging out right here rather than curved around the stick like this. The technique that I'm using is called a triangle fulcrum. So it's a 3-part fulcrum. So instead of holding my stick so that I am just doing the thumb and the index finger and then everything else is there for maybe support or speed, I'm intentionally trying to make sure that my wrist is able to be floppy and move up and down. If you are playing with a fulcrum where you are squeezing the fingers like this, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to actually move your wrist. So if you have nice relaxed hands and you move your wrist like this, as soon as you squeeze the fingers right here, you can't bend your wrist. As soon as I relax it, suddenly my wrist can move. As soon as I start squeezing, it goes like this. So for myself, I'm trying to focus on that wrist motion so I can get power. The sound quality is what I am after, as opposed to other techniques that might focus more on speed, like using more of like a finger French technique. I'm focusing on nice, relaxed, powerful strokes, so that way it can be heard from across the stadium or whatever it is that I'm performing with. The triangle fulcrum makes it so that it disperses the hold a little bit more, so I can focus less on the pressure and focus more on the wrist motion when I'm playing. So if I curve this finger around, it's going to naturally move more towards this like front fulcrum rather than the triangle 3-part fulcrum. And so for me, I focus specifically on just letting this finger hang out. What you do with your fingers can impact the tension along your hand. So if you are too tight with your fulcrum in that you are like barely any gaps in between any of your fingers, whether it's with match grip or with traditional grip, if it's too tight, you can feel different areas of tension along your arm. So for example, if I squeeze in right here, I'm feeling tension right here. I'm feeling it down here in the hand. If I pull my fingers too close right here, I'm feeling the tension down here. I'm feeling the tension up here in the wrist. As soon as I relax those and give more space in there, then it makes it so that my hand is more relaxed, my wrist can move more, and it makes it so the stick can vibrate more. If the stick is vibrating, so it's got that hum to it, that vibration sound, that makes it so that the hand is not absorbing the sound as much as if you are playing in a way where you are choking off the sound quite literally. So if I relax my hand and let the stick vibrate within this space that I'm providing in my hand, then it's going to have a better sound quality than if I play at the same height and start to add more contact and more pressure onto the stick. My hand actually absorbs the sound rather than relaxing like this and allowing the physics, the energy transfer into the head, so that way the drum makes a louder sound. So for my technique, what I specifically focus on, which might be different from yours, and that's okay. I'm really focusing on playing relaxed so I can continue to drum at my age at 39, and loud. If I wanted to focus on other things like playing with a faster speed than I currently can, I might focus more on finger more or other approaches to the technique. So because I wanted to continue to drum when I'm older, and because I wanted to have a loud sound when playing on drumline, I just have my fingers nice and relaxed, and we have this finger kind of hanging out over the edge of the stick like this, as opposed to pulling it in like this and having like a front part fulcrum. I just want to clarify, I have played with a fulcrum at the front, and I have played with different types of techniques like traditional grip and multiple ways, whether it's on a flat drum or on a tilted drum, etc. So I've done many different approaches, and after experimenting with all of those, having performed sometimes several seasons other ways, I've landed on this technique because I feel like it better matches my goals with what I'm trying to do with my playing. There are many ways to play, and the more you study with more different kinds of people, the more you can learn, and the more you can actually teach if you actually are able to perform different ways. If you only learn one approach for your performing, then it's going to significantly negatively impact your abilities as an educator, because you can't find new ways to approach different context when you're performing. If you approach the snare drum rudimental the same way you approach a concert snare drum, the same way you approach a concert bass drum versus timpani versus like a vibraphone, etc., you're going to be very limited in your approach. So the more you study, the more you learn from different perspectives, the better your playing is going to be overall, and the better you can find a technique that matches your anatomy, because everybody's hands are going to be different. Some people are going to have injuries, some people are going to have shorter fingers, some people are going to have longer fingers, etc., and that's going to make it so you can be a better teacher, because if you can have that versatility with your own performing, when you're working with dozens or hundreds or thousands of students like I have, then you're going to need to be able to adjust things at the micro level, so at the individual level when working with students. Before I get to the next tip, I just want to say really quickly that you can find literally thousands of hours of free drumming play-alongs and drumming tips in the link at the top of the description, or by going into my home tab of YouTube. So it's a bit of a paradox, but the way you get faster is by practicing slower and really refining the technique. What are the mechanics doing of your fingers? What's the contact of the stick on your fingertips? What's the feeling of the weight across your hand as you're holding it? How's your wrist moving, or is it not? How are your fingers moving, or are they not? Do you have a little bit of forearm motion? I.e. like molar technique. All of these little things and more are things to focus on when you're going slow, and that's how I've been able to play fast. So I've taught literally thousands of students over the past 21 years of teaching, and they're usually like, oh, you're just born that way, or oh, you're just able to play fast because you have like a gift for it. No, I was terrible. The reason why I was able to play fast is because I refined stuff slow. So spend like 50% of your time working on technique stuff, 30 to 40% of your time working on like grid variations, and then like 10 to 20% of your time playing fast, like chop stuff. The last few minutes of these practice streams, I play stuff fast, but like the majority of it is slow. Record yourself and then slow it down so you can really see the motion of the hands and figure out what's working, what's not, and compare it to the world-class groups you want to audition for and go, what is similar and different with my technique? What do I need to change? When you watch the recording, watch it on a mute. How does it look? Watch it at 2x speed. What kind of body motions are you doing? Are you doing weird stuff like this that you wouldn't have noticed when watching at slow motion? Put it on so you just hear it, but you don't actually see it. So you can listen to just your playing. Isolate out your senses and do that. Hey, thank you for the sub. After like a month of doing that, you'll learn a lot. Also, try and figure out like, how much time am I spending on this? What am I allocating in my practice time? Like, am I refining basics for 50% of the time? Or am I just working on like show excerpts? Break it down minute by minute and just get really focused and intentional with your playing and your improvement. And then come back here with like more questions like you're doing, and I can try and point you in the right direction for like more exercises to work on, specific problems. Also, on my home tab are playlists. The drumming tips playlist. That can help you out.